Most people think they are too smart to fall for a scam. You know what I hear all the time? I would never click on some random link. And I believe them. During the day, sitting at their kitchen table with a cup of coffee, fully awake, fully rational. But that is not when scammers come for you. They come at 2 a.m. Your phone buzzes on the nightstand. You are in a dead sleep. You roll over, one eye open. The screen says, Chase Bank urgent, $1,800 transferred to external wallet requested. Reply no to block or click here to stop fraud. And in that moment, your brain does not process logic. It processes terror. You are not thinking about whether this text looks right. You are thinking about your retirement account, your Social Security deposit, your mortgage payment, and you react. That reaction is exactly what the scammer is counting on. And I am going to show you step by step how this trap works, why it works on smart people, and what federal law actually does to protect your money if you handle it correctly. There is one golden rule of banking that every single person watching this video needs to memorize tonight. And there is a legal shield most people do not even know exists. Stick around for that story, because I had a client named Patricia who did everything wrong, and another named Marcus who did everything right, and the difference between their outcomes was $43,000. Let's get into it. If you have made it even 30 seconds into this video and you have not hit the like button, I need you to stop and think about why. Somewhere out there right now, someone just woke up to a terrifying text message and is about to click a fake link to save their money. A smashed like pushes this video into their feed so they see it before they make that click. This information used to cost $400 an hour in my office. The least you can do is hit that button so YouTube pushes this to the next person who needs it. Do it now. Before we go any deeper, let me give you the disclaimer. I am a real estate attorney. I handle closings, title disputes, property fraud, and financial elder abuse cases. But I am not your attorney. I am not your financial advisor. Laws vary state by state, and banking regulations can shift. Use this video as your starting point, and then talk to a local attorney or your bank's fraud department before you act on anything. What I am giving you today is education, powerful education, but it is not legal advice tailored to your situation. Now, let me tell you why this particular scam is exploding right now. In 2025 and into 2026, smishing, that is SMS phishing, scam text messages has become the #1 method of financial fraud targeting adults over 55. Not email, not phone calls, text messages. And the reason is simple. Almost everyone over 55 sleeps with their phone on the nightstand. Almost everyone has banking alerts turned on. And almost everyone trusts a text message that looks like it came from their bank. Scammers know this. They have studied it. And they have built an entire industry around the 3-second window between when you wake up and when your brain turns on. That is the window they are attacking. If you understand how this window works, you will never fall for it. If you do not, you are one midnight text away from losing everything in your checking account. One. The midnight panic attack, why this scam works on smart people. Let me start by validating something. If you've ever received one of these texts and your heart started pounding, you are not foolish. You are not gullible. You are human. And the scammer is exploiting your biology. Here is what I mean by that. Between midnight and 4 in the morning, your prefrontal cortex, that is the part of your brain that handles logic, skepticism, and decision-making, is essentially offline. You are in deep sleep or close to it. When that phone buzzes and you see the words urgent and $1,800 transfer, your brain does not activate your logic center. It activates your amygdala. That is your fight or flight response. The same part of your brain that would fire if someone broke into your house. Let me tell you about Diane. Diane is 67 years old, lives in Iredell County, retired school teacher on a fixed income, Social Security plus a small pension. She got one of these texts at 2:15 in the morning. The text said $2,400 was being transferred to an external account, and to reply, stop, or click the link to cancel. Diane told me later, and this is the part that breaks my heart. She said, I knew something felt off, but I could not afford to lose $2,400. So she clicked the link. It took her to a page that looked exactly like her bank's login screen. She typed in her username, she typed in her password. Within 90 seconds, the scammer had drained $3,100 from her checking account. Here's the thing. Diane is not an outlier. Ray is 72, lives over in Gaston County, got a nearly identical text at 1:45 a.m. His said a $950 wire transfer was pending. Ray did not click the link. He replied no. That reply told the scammer that Ray's number was active and that Ray was awake and panicked. Within 45 seconds, Ray's phone rang. The caller ID said it was his bank. A very calm, very professional voice said, "Mr. Henderson, this is the fraud department. We detected the suspicious transfer. For verification, I need you to read me the 6-digit code we just sent to your phone." Ray read the code. That code was his 2-factor authentication. The scammer used it to reset Ray's online banking password and transferred $4,200 out before Ray even hung up the phone. And then there is Janet. Janet is 61, lives in Union County, got the same kind of text at 3 a.m. But Janet had watched a video like this one. She did not click the link. She did not reply. She put her phone face down on the nightstand and went back to sleep. The next morning, she opened her banking app. Her balance was exactly where it should be. No transfer, no fraud, no loss. Janet lost $0 because she understood that the panic was the product. The text was not warning her about fraud. The text was the fraud. 3 people, 3 counties, 3 a.m. The only difference was what they did in the first 10 seconds after waking up. Diane lost $3,100, Ray lost $4,200, Janet lost nothing. 2. The block fraud illusion. There is no transfer happening. This is the part that changes everything once you understand it. There is no $1,800 transfer. There is no $2,400 wire. There is no pending transaction. The entire crisis described in that text message is fiction. It does not exist. The scammer invented it to make you act. Here's what I mean by that. The reply "NO" to block button is not a security feature. It is a data harvesting trigger. When you reply to the text, 3 things happen simultaneously. First, the scammer confirms your phone number is active and attached to a real person. Second, the scammer now knows you are awake, scared, and reactive. Third, your reply triggers an automated phone call from a spoofed number that will display your bank's name on your caller ID. Let me walk you through what happened to Greg. Greg is 59, lives in Mecklenburg County, works in logistics, and is sharp as a tack. Greg got the text at 2:30 a.m. He knew not to click the link he had heard about phishing, but he thought replying "NO" was the safe move. It is his bank asking him a question, right? Wrong. Within 1 minute, his phone rang. The caller ID said Wells Fargo Fraud Department. The person on the line had a professional tone, background noise that sounded like a call center, and even a case number. They asked Greg to verify his identity by providing the last 4 of his social security number and reading back a text code. Greg complied. That code was a password reset token. The scammer changed Greg's online banking password, added a new external transfer account, and moved $6,800 out of Greg's checking account in under 4 minutes. Now let me tell you about Sandra. Sandra is 63, lives in Rowan County. Got a similar text, but hers had a link that said "tap here to block transaction." Sandra tapped it. The link opened a web page that looked identical to her bank's mobile login. Same logo, same colors, same layout. She entered her username and password. The page then asked for her debit card number for verification. She entered that too. Within 2 hours, the scammer had used her credentials to make 3 separate purchases totaling $4,100 and had attempted to change her mailing address for new card delivery. Here is the math that should terrify you. Greg lost $6,800. Sandra lost $4,100. The text message that started this entire chain cost the scammer approximately 0.3 cents to send. That is the return on investment these criminals are working with. One text, fraction of a penny, thousands of dollars extracted. Stop scrolling. If you have a smartphone on your nightstand and you are not subscribed to an attorney's channel that covers exactly this kind of financial predation, you are leaving yourself completely exposed. A scammer is going to send you a text at 2 a.m. while you are half asleep. And the difference between keeping your money and losing it is knowing what you are about to learn in the next 3 sections. Hit subscribe right now. The next video I drop could be the one that saves your bank account. Miss it, and that is on you. 3. The golden rule of banking: real banks do not ask permission to stop a crime. This is the single most important thing I will ever tell you about your bank. Memorize it. Tattoo it on the inside of your eyelids. Real banks do not text you a multiple choice question while a crime is in progress. Here is what I mean by that. Your bank has an automated fraud detection system that monitors every transaction on your account 24 hours a day. If that system flags a suspicious $2,000 transfer at 2 a.m., the bank does not send you a polite text asking if you would like to block it. The bank freezes your account instantly. It blocks the transaction, it locks down your card, and then it waits for you to call them during business hours or whenever you wake up to verify whether the transaction was legitimate. Let me tell you about Frank. Frank is 70, lives in Catawba County. Frank actually did have a fraudulent charge on his account. Someone in another state tried to use a clone version of his debit card at an electronics store for $1,800. You know what happened? Frank's bank froze his card immediately. The transaction was declined. Frank did not find out until the next morning when he tried to buy gas and his card would not work. He called the bank, they explained the situation, issued a new card, and Frank never lost a dime. That is how real fraud protection works. It is silent, it is automatic, and it never asks you to click a link at 2 a.m. Now, contrast that with Kevin. Kevin is 56, lives in Lincoln County. Kevin got a text that said his bank had detected a suspicious transaction and needed him to verify his identity through a secure link. Kevin clicked the link because the text used the exact same language his bank uses in legitimate alerts. But here's the difference Kevin missed. His real bank alerts say, "We have temporarily locked your card. Call us at the number on the back of your card." They never include a link. They never ask him to take action to stop a transaction. They tell him the action has already been taken. Kevin entered his credentials on the fake page. The scammer withdrew $2,200 before Kevin realized what had happened. And then there is Thomas. Thomas is 64, lives in Cabarrus County. Thomas got the text message at 3:15 a.m. Thomas did something brilliant. He did not click. He did not reply. He picked up his phone, closed the text, opened his Chase banking app using Face ID, and looked at his account. Balance, exactly what it should be. No pending transfers, no suspicious activity. Thomas put his phone down and went back to sleep. Total time spent, 45 seconds. Total money lost, 0. The golden rule is this: if a text message demands that you take action to save your money, it is a scam, 100% of the time. Real banks take action first and ask questions later. Fake banks ask questions first and take your money later. Drop a comment right now. Tell me, have you ever received a fake text message from a bank or a delivery service that almost tricked you? I read every single comment. Tell me what the text said, what time it came in, and whether you almost fell for it. The comments that show up first are the ones I answer, and the ones I answer become the topics of my next videos. If you stay silent, do not expect me to know what scam to cover next. Speak up. 4, the Legal Shield Regulation E and why doing nothing protects you. Now I need to calm you down because there is a piece of federal law that most people have never heard of, and it is the most important financial protection you have. It is called Regulation E. It is part of the Electronic Fund Transfer Act, and it has been federal law since 1978. Here's what it says in plain English. If someone steals money from your bank account through an unauthorized electronic transfer, meaning you did not approve it, you did not initiate it, and you did not give them your credentials, your bank is legally required to investigate and refund your money. For most banks, this is backed up by a zero liability policy on debit card fraud. Between Regulation E and your bank's own policies, you are covered. Here is what I mean by that. Let me tell you about Marcus. Remember Marcus from the top of the video? Marcus is 68, lives in Cabarrus County. Someone gained access to his debit card number through a data breach, not through anything Marcus did, and made 3 unauthorized purchases totaling $4,300. Marcus noticed the charges the next morning, called his bank immediately, and filed a fraud dispute. Under Regulation E, the bank investigated, confirmed the transactions were unauthorized, and refunded every cent within 10 business days. Marcus got all $4,300 back. That is Regulation E, working exactly the way it is supposed to. But here's the part that will keep you up at night. Regulation E protects you from unauthorized transfers. The key word is unauthorized. If you click a phishing link and enter your banking credentials, if you read your 2-factor authentication code to a fake agent on the phone, if you voluntarily hand over the keys to your account, the bank will classify that as an authorized push payment. And authorized push payments are not covered by Regulation E. Let me tell you about Deborah. Deborah is 61, lives in Stanley County. Deborah got the 2 a.m. text. She clicked the link. She entered her username, password, and the verification code the scammer requested. The scammer transferred $3,800 out of her account. Deborah called her bank the next day to report fraud. The bank's response, "Ma'am, our records show that someone logged in using your verified credentials and your 2-factor authentication code. According to our records, this was an authorized transaction." Deborah filed a Regulation E dispute. The bank denied it. Deborah hired an attorney. The attorney reviewed the case and told her the same thing. Because Deborah provided her credentials voluntarily, even though she was tricked, the law treats it differently than if a hacker had stolen them without her involvement. Patricia's story is even worse. Patricia, remember, the one I mentioned in the opening, Patricia is 65, lives in Iredell County. Patricia got the text, clicked the link, entered her credentials, and then also gave the fake phone agent her debit card number and the 3-digit security code on the back. The total loss was $43,000 across her checking, savings, and a linked money market account. Patricia filed a Regulation E claim. The bank denied it. Patricia contacted the CFPB. The CFPB investigated but ultimately sided with the bank because Patricia had voluntarily provided her credentials and security codes. $43,000 gone. Not because the law failed Patricia, but because the scammer tricked Patricia into stepping outside the law's protection. The math here is brutal. Marcus lost nothing because he did nothing. Deborah lost $3,800 because she clicked and typed. Patricia lost $43,000 because she clicked, typed, and gave verbal confirmation. Your legal shield is real. It is powerful, but it only works if you do not hand the scammer the key that unlocks it. Stop right now, pull up your phone, find the one person you know who sleeps with their phone on the nightstand, your mother, your father, your grandparent, your neighbor who lives alone, and send them this video. Not later, not tomorrow, now. Because if their phone buzzes at 2 a.m. tonight and they do not know the golden rule we just covered, they are going to click that link. And you will be the one sitting across from them at the kitchen table while they tell you they lost everything in their checking account. One text, one link, send it before you forget. 5. The defense protocol, your step-by-step midnight playbook. I want you to think of this section as your emergency instruction card, like the one in the seat pocket of an airplane. When that text hits your phone at 2 in the morning, you do not need to think. You need to follow these steps exactly. Step 1. Do not click the link. Do not reply to the text. Do not answer the phone if it rings. I know your instinct is screaming at you to do something. Override it. The text is designed to make inaction feel dangerous, but inaction is your greatest weapon. Every second you spend not engaging is a second the scammer cannot use against you. Let me tell you about Rachel. Rachel is 58, lives in Davidson County. Rachel got the midnight text. Her phone rang 30 seconds later. Caller ID said it was her bank. Rachel's hand was on the phone. She almost picked it up, but she remembered a video like this one. She let it ring. She put the phone face down on the nightstand. The next morning, she checked her bank account. Balance. Perfect. No transfers, no fraud, no loss. Rachel told me later, The hardest thing I have ever done was not pick up that phone, but it saved me. Step 2, close the text message entirely. Do not leave it open. Do not screenshot it to analyze later while you are half asleep. Close it. Get it off your screen. Step 3, open your official banking app independently, not through the link in the text, through your app drawer, using Face ID or your saved secure login. Check your balance. Check your recent transactions. I promise you, in almost every single case, your balance will be exactly where you left it. The crisis does not exist. Your money is sitting right where it should be. James went through this exact process. James is 60, lives in York County, South Carolina, got the text at 1:50 a.m., closed it, opened his banking app, balance was normal, 0 pending transfers. James told me he was back asleep by 2:05. 15 minutes of mild anxiety instead of weeks of financial devastation. Step 4, if you are still panicked and there is no shame in that, flip your physical debit card over. There is a 1-800 number on the back. Call that number. That is your bank's actual fraud department. Not the number in the text, not the number from the incoming call, the number physically printed on your card. They will verify that your account is secure and walk you through any additional steps. Dana did exactly this. Dana is 63, lives in Lancaster County. She got the text, did not click, checked her app, and still felt uneasy. So she called the number on the back of her card at 2:30 in the morning. The bank's automated system confirmed no suspicious activity. A live agent came on the line, added a fraud alert to her account as an extra precaution, and told Dana her money was completely safe. Total cost to Dana, 15 minutes on the phone. Total money lost, 0. Step 5, go back to sleep knowing that your money is legally protected. Under Regulation E, if anyone manages to access your account without your authorization, without you clicking a link or giving them a code, the bank must investigate and refund you. You are protected. Your money is protected. The only thing that can undo that protection is you voluntarily handing over your credentials. Let me tell you one last story. Sarah is 71, lives in Burke County. Sarah was the most panicked person I have ever spoken to about one of these texts. She was shaking when she called my office. She told me she got the text at 2 a.m., almost clicked the link, but instead she followed the protocol. She closed the text, she opened her app, she called her bank, everything was fine. And then she said something I will never forget. She said, I spent 45 years saving that money, and I almost gave it all away in 45 seconds because a stranger sent me a text message. That is the reality of this scam. A lifetime of saving, 45 seconds of panic, and the only thing standing between you and total loss is knowing what to do when that phone buzzes in the dark. Save this video right now. Put it in a playlist. Call it Before I Sleep or Midnight Protocol or whatever you want. Just save it somewhere you can find it. Because the next time your phone buzzes at 2 a.m. and your heart is pounding and every instinct in your body is telling you to click that link, you need to pull this video back up and watch the golden rule section. If you do not save it now, you will not find it at 2 in the morning when you need it most. And that nightstand is not the place you want to be searching YouTube. So there you have it. 5 things every single person needs to know before their phone buzzes in the middle of the night. Number 1, scammers attack between midnight and 4 a.m. because your brain's logic center is offline and your panic response is running the show. Number 2, there is no real transfer happening. The block button is the attack. The reply NO triggers a phone call from a fake agent. Number 3, real banks do not ask you to stop fraud. They stop it themselves, silently, automatically, and they wait for you to call them. Number 4, Regulation E protects your money, but only if you do not hand your credentials to the scammer. The moment you click and type, you step outside the law's protection. Number 5, the Midnight Protocol. Do not click, do not reply, do not answer the phone, open your app, check your balance, call the number on the back of your card, go back to sleep. We are not done. If you think this video covered everything you need to know about protecting your bank accounts, you are only halfway there. The next video covers authorized push payment fraud, the scam where a thief convinces you to willingly transfer your own money, and your bank says it is not their problem. It is the fastest growing financial scam in America right now, and it is the one that catches the losses most banks refuse to refund. Click it, watch it,